Please go subscribe to the Rumble channel for Franchise Sports TV under the name FSTV22. Now, I'm using that Rumble channel for any purposes of me getting kicked off YouTube and also for more of my spicier joints. It's free as well. I have the freedom to say whatever I want to say as well. So go subscribe to FSTV22. That is Franchise Sports TV 22 on Rumble. Welcome back, Franchise Nation. Welcome back. Later this week, I will be live streaming the opening game for the Milwaukee Bucks versus the 76ers, Philadelphia 76ers, with or without Mongol Slay, a.k.a. James Harden. Who knows? I don't think he's going to play at all. It's funny. They open up with the 76ers once again. The Bucks, I mean. But anyway, in the last video, I talked about the Bucks and all the narratives around them, all the hate they probably would get and all the love they would get. But just one question I need for y'all to answer. You guys probably already know the answer to it. It's already been discussed. But did anybody recall, if they did watch, let's say, ESPN, anybody recall, even watching ESPN now, anybody recall them really talking about the defending champs, now defending champs, Denver Nuggets? It seemed like they talked about more that balding. I said I wasn't going to do this anymore, but just for this video. Once again, the media likes talking about that balding fool out in LA over and over and over and over and over again. And when is he getting that surgery on the foot? You know why? There ain't nothing wrong with that damn foot. But anyways, that's my last time mentioning that foot. But they will continue to keep talking. They continue to keep talking about them, and talking about them, and talking about them, and talking about them. And then they'll divert their attention to Golden State just a little bit. Maybe they divert their attention to the Suns. They divert their attention to the Bucks for a couple of days. But they never once talked about the Denver Nuggets. They never talked once about the defending champs. That's what happens when you play our small market team. They did the same thing with the Bucks 2 years ago, won it. They barely talked about it. Then they start changing narratives. Talk about the Bucks are a super team when they won it all. But on this channel, and I've been accused of this for some weird reason. This happens when you have a whole bunch of, when you talk about the king and savior and LeBron James, they just don't seem to do research on my channel, but just accuse me of only talking about LeBron and not talking about other teams, which an idiot did last season, even though there's been plenty of videos of me trying to cover all 30 teams. That there's something to cover by. Last year, I talked about Utah because they were surprised in the beginning of the season being in the playoff hunt. I talked about Minnesota countless times. I talked about the Sacramento Kings. I talked about the New York Knicks, with the exception of the Jazz, all being playoff teams. I talked about OKC. I talked about, Portland at the time. They wasn't within the playoff rush. I tried to talk about everybody. I tried to talk about all 30 teams. Sometimes you can't talk about all 30 teams. They ain't got nothing going on. Charlotte Hornets. Maybe I'll talk more about the Orlando Magic. Houston Rockets. Try to talk about everybody on this channel. So I don't want not one person coming on this channel that's new talking about it. I only talk about LeBron. Because I will create a playlist with all 30 teams. So you can't accuse me of that. But since LeBron is such a getter and he's always doing something that we don't like, of course he's going to be talking about. I ain't going to sit there and ignore it. None of us ain't going to sit there and ignore it. We're not going to ignore it for the Latards so they can have a peace of mind about their fate, their Lord and Savior and LeBron James. It's not going to happen. So LeBron James does something to irk or does something big in sports news, it will be talked about just like it'd be talked about anybody else. So, but I must warn you guys, You already know what's gonna come. There's gonna be a whole bunch of goofball narratives surrounding the Lakers and LeBron. So be prepared for that. Prepare for that, I should say, and be prepared for me to talk about it, because I know y'all be here and want to hear my thoughts about it. And not one of these psycho LeBron fans, the crazies, ain't gonna stop me. Ain't gonna try to persuade me to not talk about it. So, anyways, tell me what you guys think.